Okay, so welcome to Things Go Sideways. This is a space for honest stories about the moments when life or leadership doesn't just get uncomfortable, but it becomes impossible to ignore. What this isn't is a group of stories about quick fixes or clean resolutions. These are stories about reckoning in real life and what happens when something demands your attention, whether you're ready for it or not. Today, I have a great person that I've really wanted to talk to for a really long time, who's joined me. Sherry is known for her work with helping leaders face what they've been stepping around. But before that work even had a name, she lived through moments that forced her to confront things that she couldn't optimize, that she couldn't delegate, that she couldn't outgrow. And so I know this is a little bit mysterious, but Sherry, thank you for being here and for trusting this space with your story, your stories that maybe didn't start out as a framework. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Kiki. I love that you're doing this. I think this is a great platform for people to be able to talk about real life, right? So I
Yeah.
really appreciate that you've invited me on your program. I
Well,
appreciate
it,
it.
it seemed like a natural, but I've just got to say that the thing that I've known about you because I've heard in the association industry for years, it's about how you're a doer, you're a helper, you're creative, you're this person that goes in and works with groups and you solve problems, you know. You also bring people together. So the question would be like, what kind of sideways moments could Sherry possibly have? Like, it seems like everything's sort of been, pulled together that you've got a framework for everything. When you look back across your life and career, what's a sideways moment that you couldn't ignore?
I think, Kiki, we all have sideways moments, right? Like I could, as you're talking, I could go through, my career and go, yeah, that was a sideways moment, or that was, but you're right. I really, when I look at some of the things that I wanted to do when I started the consultancy, the top thing was solving problems. So I felt like I was good at that until I had my own that I didn't know how to solve. So, as you know, I went through kind of a season of personal loss and it wasn't just I lost my husband unexpectedly, but it was a whole year of disruption after disruption. My father-in-law died 30 days later.
Oh my
My
gosh.
daughter totaled her car when I was on a conference call. It was like it was one thing after another. And from the outside, because I was like, I couldn't fall apart, right? Like I was like, I've got to do this. I've got two kids. I've got a company that I'm running. I've got commitments. I have clients. I have responsibilities. Um, and so what I didn't wasn't realizing that over time that I wasn't able to solve it. I was solving it by just doing what I always did, right? Like and showing
Yeah.
up. And then, yeah, about 9 months after that, well, I'll tell you the story. I had to go and present at WSAE on AI, and I was like, I can't do this. I was going to be in a room of 50 people, which I had done my whole entire career. And I
Yeah.
was like, I can't do this. I just can't.
Yeah.
I did, but there was that moment, and then I knew, wow, you let things go really sideways. And now,
And I think that if you don't mind, like I want to dig into that a little bit because as a little bit about me too, right? Parallel paths. Like I went through this year of just actually year and a half to 2 years of incredible change. And a lot of it shaking up and bringing up questions about like loss, grief, identity, with a public platform where people are watching. How did you deal with the questions that came from maybe not having all the answers? For example, like you're getting ready to go and do something you've done a million times before in front of a group, and suddenly you're like, wow, something feels really off. How did you how did you look internally and figure out what to do next?
I had people around me, of course, that said, Sherry, you need to go to a therapist. I'm like, I don't have time for a therapist. I got all these things going on. Like, you know, I don't know the passwords to my Wi-Fi. Like, there's just, I got like a list of stuff happening. Like, I don't have time for that. Um, and then I had people that were in my circle, in my close circle, that would say, "Do you, I'm here, you can talk to me." And I'm like, "No, there's no talking. I got this," right? That moment of having that speaking engagement and realizing I didn't have it. I actually said, okay, for probably one of the first times in my career, I was like, where do I get help uh, to at least do that thing? So I joined Judy Holler's speaker school that was giving me tips and tricks, doing the traditional stuff that you would do just to get your head wrapped around the fact that, like, just to be a better speaker, right?
Mhm.
So I did that, and then I joined her group, totally intimidated by the people that were in the group. But that was kind of like a step. Like that was the first step of like looking outside of my typical environment, which just gave me a little bit different way of thinking about things. When I was meeting with some of the other speakers, they had all gone through, not all of them, but a lot of them had gone through major disruptions, like bigger than what I thought my problems were. So that was one that kind of gave you some, I don't know, strength or courage, or like, if they can do this, I can do this. And the second was I started working with Tim Scher. He really started working with me on changing my mindset. I said, Tim, everything bad happens. Like every 30 days, something bad's happened. And it's been like this all year. And I'm just waiting for the next bad thing to happen. Like literally, Kiki, I barely left the area because I wasn't going to leave, my kids. I wasn't going to, like, I couldn't go that far unless I brought them with me. Like
Yeah,
there you'll see on social media, we went to New York, but everybody, if you see, they were with me because something traumatic was going to happen and I wasn't going to be around.
yeah.
Um, so he worked with me to really change that mindset. Didn't take that long, but it took some time where he'd say, Sherry, does anything bad happen in the last 2 weeks since we talked? And I was like, I was trying to find it. I'm telling you, it's all bad.
And then he's
Um,
pointing out the moments when it's not. So that it
right.
allows you to see that pattern rather. Oh, smart. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So he's got a book, it's called One Belief Away. So he coached me kind of through that. And I've taken those lessons and trying to, help others think like, okay, we've got this problem, but what is the opportunity? So it was
Yeah.
when you're in that place, that's so hard to get yourself out of that mindset, I think. Like it's really hard.
For you, what I've seen, and this is, I don't know if it's interesting or not, but from my standpoint, I've watched as you've just sort of exploded into speaker. You've always been a thought leader. You've always been a speaker. You've always been teaching, but this focus on your message and really having meaning behind the message that you have, it seems like clarity is there and that you've got just this clear vision for the direction in which you're headed. So I want to talk a little bit about that. I guess with that, how have some of these experiences in your life informed the work that you're doing right now?
It's been a journey. It really has. Like Kevin and I were writing this book around the heart framework. Like I had lost my husband and we were trying to find purpose around that. And it was that, Chat GPT had just come out and everybody was disrupted. And everyone was wanting me to talk about AI and I could do that. But I was like, there's something bigger here. And we always talked about people, process, culture, and technology and how technology is the easy part, but that the people and the process and the culture piece within organizations, that's always the hard part. Through that, the journey started with this framework, but then it really evolved into more of how do I help others get through those things? Like, so part of that messaging is there. And the framework, the first one is humanize. And we used to always, well, we still say, understand the people behind the data, the people behind the screen. That's always been like a message. But then I had to take a step back and say, look at yourself. Like, what
Mm.
is holding you back? What is
Mhm.
making you afraid? Why can't, what are those things, those stumbling blocks? And kind of really be human to yourself. and then just really helping organizations and teams kind of reimagine the future and transform and how to get there because it's easy to say,
Yeah.
but it's hard and it's a process. It's not just a framework, but and it doesn't happen overnight, right? Like I
Mhm.
said, this is taken, it looks like it's happened overnight because of probably social media and time, goes by way too fast. But it's been a journey for sure.
Let's talk about the concept for the books and then where they came from. Like,
And we had gone down for this, big digital transformation project, and we're sitting in the boardroom and doing what consultants do, asking a bunch of questions and getting answers and listening how many spreadsheets they have and that they're running their membership database through their website and all the things, right? So we're like, okay, we can do this. This is not hard. But I kept watching people trip over this oriental rug that was outside the boardroom. So I thought I was asking a simple question. I'm like,
yeah.
guys, why don't you move the rug? And the immediate reaction was, Sherry, we'd have to ask the CEO. I went, what? Now they just
Wow.
had a new CEO, and I knew the new CEO really well. And I was like,
You're
I
like,
can tell you, he does not care about that rug. I
he
didn't
would
say it
want
that
you to
way, but
move the rug. Yeah.
yeah, I was like, guys, you can move the rug. It's ugly. It's frayed. It's ugly. It's old.
Wow.
It was really bad. I wish I had a picture of it, but it was bad. And so there was a lot of reasons to move the rug, but culturally, they had worked in an environment where they did always ask the CEO or they waited for the CEO to tell them what to do.
Mm.
So I waited a couple days. I encouraged them to move the rug, and they never would. So at the end of the day, one day, I just rolled up the rug. I think the receptionist was like, "What are you doing?" I rolled up the rug, and I was like, "Where's like the storage closet?" And I put it in the
Yeah.
storage closet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I
Well,
love
then we
that.
were able to talk about the fact that like, guys, we moved the rug, and nobody like
Yeah.
people know like the staff noticed, but nobody cared. Nobody
Was it a
asked
big
why we moved the
deal?
rug.
Yeah.
Well, nobody wanted the rug back. Like
Yeah. It just got rid of problems.
that's where we are. We've got the rugs. But I
I
will
love
say
that.
what's occurred through naming it the rug. Now we can
Hmm.
always, it makes, gives people simple language to talk about their problems. Like
Mm.
when we're in an organization, sometimes we're doing consulting work and someone will lean over to me and be like, Sherry, that's our rug. And I was like, and it makes it easy instead of that's the problem or this is what's, a real challenge. It gives it language that makes it a little lighter. Like, yeah, that's the rug. We can do that. We know how to pick it up and
I
shake it
love
out
that.
or whatever.
Are people now sending you things? I feel like that would be like the automatic gift is anything that's rug related. Are you getting like everything rug related? I'm just
Not
curious.
yet, but I do have a couple rugs sitting here in my office.
Yeah. Okay, you've got the framework, you've got a great metaphor, you've got some stuff that you can talk about and sort of put around all of this. Children's book? Now, how does that, what made you think children's book?
So my mother kept saying for many, many years of my life, you need to write a children's book. All these people on television write children's books and they're like best-selling children's book authors. I'm like, Mom, they have money, they have teams. They're not even doing this. But and so she kept bringing it up and bringing it up. And so I had a message now. And then one day I just sat down and I wrote that message for a children's book. And I sat on it for a little while. And then I called my publisher and said, how much is this going to cost to illustrate this book? And so she did. And I'll tell you, I am so glad that I did it because I love Jules.
Yeah.
She just like came to life and it's important. Well, it's become really important to me through this process of being able to talk about challenges or things that we don't talk about at home. And
Mhm.
that's what Jules does. She, again, is like the safe way of talking about why do we have this rug in the middle of our living room? It's bumpy. Nobody wants to move it. Grandma doesn't want to move it. Everyone wants to leave it alone, but nobody likes it. And
Yeah.
then Jules lifts it up, says, let's move it and lifts it up. And then there's an apology letter underneath the rug, and there's a broken toy, and all these things that were under the rug that then gave the family a safe way to talk about issues that we all do it, right?
Mhm.
There's something happens and we ignore it and then it festers, and so it's meant not only just as a cute children's book, but to help teachers and guidance counselors and social workers. Like I've had social workers that have bought it for people, so they can again have that kind of real safe language to say this really isn't like this gives them an opportunity to just talk about things a little bit differently, and it doesn't seem as scary, right? Like to talk about a
Yeah.
rug doesn't seem as scary as to say, you know, something bad, I'm feeling something bad. Like,
Yeah.
so
What is happening next? What are you like, what does 2026 look like for you?
yeah. So I will say we have, I'm starting to put into a couple buckets, but of course we still have the consultancy, and within that consultancy, we're still building out a lot of, AI initiatives, whether it's helping people, identify how what they need to do at their organizations and the strategy around that and training. We've been doing a lot of training. But for me, we've also with Rug, we're shifting some of our event content. So we will have an event in April. I'm calling it the Rug Party because let's be honest, like nobody wants to sit in another,
No,
education seminar on blah
no,
blah blah. So that'll
yes.
be like interactive, small, engaged event. We may do more of those. I'm not sure. Depends on how it goes. We're being pretty agile about it. I did just launch a mastermind around,
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So the
yeah.
leadership mastermind, we're calling it the Rug Mastermind. So that just launched last week. So I'm
Oh my
excited about
gosh.
that. Yeah, really excited
Congratulations.
about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. And yeah, and then we also launched an AI accelerator, kind of a different type of mastermind, but more of a learning around AI. So those are the big things for 26, and then this book launch. Like next
Yeah.
week's the big book launch and the big push, and that's taken a lot of energy. And then we'll just see kind of how things evolve from that. I mean, I'm really passionate about the message, and I'm hoping that we can get in bigger stages and platforms and things, but I'm not exactly sure. I'm just letting it kind of sink in
Yeah.
right now and exactly sure wherever that evolves, it evolves. So,
I would love to see you on a TEDx stage, TED stage, being able to share your message. I think that having gone through, we're all going through disruption. I don't know how anybody living on this planet right now. I'm really excited to see what you do next.
yeah, thanks, Kiki. For me, it, I kind of had to find I felt like I had to find a reason for why all these things happen. I mean, that part of that,
Yeah.
whether that was true or not, but I felt like, why am I going through all of this? And at the end, what is the outcome from all of this? And I felt like like I said, everybody goes through challenges and disruptions, and you know, most likely you don't want somebody else's problems, you take your own, right? But what I needed to realize too was that I had a rug. Like I was sitting there saying, I have to be strong. I have to be reliable. I have to fix everything. I have to take care of everybody. I was the person that could handle it. I had been told that all of my life, personally, professionally. You've got this. Even when I didn't, you would just
Yeah.
keep going. And I think that for me, especially when you're looking at people like yourself or other people that are in my network of really high performers, that message of it's okay, like we're all going to be okay, and you just have to take that next little step forward and get up and do the best you can with what's right in front of you. And then that turned into the book and the message. And the book also is like a toolkit and a workbook and walks you through questions at the end of each chapter. And it's really light. You can read it like in less than 3 hours, and then you can go back and do the workbook. But to your point, I felt like I just needed to take my experience and
Mhm.
do what I could to help others as I've kind of been through this journey over the last few years. So I hope if it helps one person, then I'll be happy.
You are powerful. And I want to thank you for just sharing your stories with us today and being here. And as I continue on this project, like I think that the work that you're doing and my fascination with like getting these sideways stories, I think your message with the rug, like we working in tandem. I like love the work that you're doing, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Well, thank you, Kiki. This has been great, and I can't wait to follow all of your sideways stories on your podcast.
Yeah, I'll keep you posted on all of them. To everyone listening, if there is a moment in your life or leadership that keeps asking for your attention, you don't have to resolve it today, but you might need to stop pretending that it isn't there. So, with that in mind, I'll thank Sherry again, and we will see you